Good afternoon. Welcome to AsyncAPI community meeting. It's Tuesday, 5th of April. We have another community meeting for AsyncAPI, and we have some items on the agenda. I only see known faces in the audience, but yeah, even though I see faces that I know, maybe the faces have something to say. So before we jump into the regular agenda items, do you have something you want to say? Some questions? Because once I start talking, there would be no room for discussion. Now, of course, there will be. But yeah, anything to add from anyone? Would you like to say something? Nothing? Okay, cool. But anyway, thank you for joining. So yeah, let me look into the agenda. So all the agenda items are for me. Yay. But yeah, there are some important updates to the community, because some one change that we're doing at the moment, it's affecting it's going to affect the community. So first things first, the long okay, so Sergio writes that the link to the agenda seems wrong. February 8th. The link that I'm checking is April 5th. Where you're taking your link from? The calendar invite?
Yeah.
Ah, yeah. That's crap. That's crap, and that's why actually the first agenda item is about this crap. So the mess we have with these meetings. So yeah, let me first share the link to the agenda items. So that's the link I just pasted, and the first item is the is this PR that I just linked. So it's a PR that introduces a automation in meeting scheduling, but I will not cover all the details of the PR, because some are just important for people that host meetings. So I will just explain what changes will this pull request introduce in the communication about meetings. So let me, I guess the best would be, let me share the screen. Excuse me. How do I share the screen? Okay, I think that's the one. Can you confirm if you can see my screen? Hello?
Yep, all good.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So, so the most important, so the maybe some context. So at the moment, how meetings or organization works, we have basically only just me and Fran are having access to Google Calendar. If Jonas runs some meeting, or Missy is planning to do some design related meeting, or I run a meeting, or Fran runs a meeting, we have to manually, me or Fran, actually Fran stopped doing it. So now it's just me that I can add items to the Google Calendar. And it's so it's basically me as a bottleneck, and me almost every time making some mistake. Even with this meeting, I forgot to update the link to the agenda items. So the idea behind this pull request is to automate it. So it's no longer a human adding items to the calendar, no longer a human scheduling a meeting on Zoom, and no longer a human adding, making sure that people get notification because in the past it happened to me that I disclosed emails of all the people that are subscribed, which is no go for GDPR. But yeah, so that's if it comes to the context. So like we have a lot of manual stuff, and we should the plan was to automate it as much as possible. And what it means, like what changes, the most important things are already like marked here in the pull request. So first of all, we will no longer use Google Groups as a distribution list for two reasons. Basically, first reason is that like to be a member of Google Group, you need to have a Google account. Even though you can, Google allows you to register with your personal email that doesn't have to be gmail.com, you still have to register to Google. And because Google has some different opinions among different groups of people, many people were like, I'm not sure if discriminated is a good word, but like basically, yeah, let's say discriminated from getting notifications about the AsyncAPI meetings because they could not join the Google group because they didn't want to use Google. So we had to find a different solution. But instead of using some different mailing list, we are now starting using our current newsletter. And that's the second reason why we got rid of distribution lists, because we will no longer add people to the meeting in Google Calendar. We will no longer like invite people to the meeting, because it was generating a lot of traffic, a lot of emails, and to do it, to add people to the meeting, you actually need an account that is doing it. So basically, when you add people to the meeting and the invite is being sent, and you can imagine now, like now in the Google group, we have over 200 people. So many times to me, it happened that people started adding me to spam instead of just asking to be removed from the list. And therefore, it didn't even work. Many emails were not delivered, and our accounts were just affected by this situation. So we just need to change the approach. And once we merge this PR, and the plan is to migrate all the members of current Google group and move people to our current MailChimp account, the newsletter account. And the reason is because instead of spamming people whenever we make changes to single meetings, we will just send now an email every Friday to people that are subscribed to the newsletter. It's going to be a generated email with with list of meetings that are scheduled for the next week. So that's one huge change. Before we do it, I will, of course, like, because I can imagine not our people are watching these recordings or attend the meetings, so I will of course send like the final email to all the people that are members of this group, like notifying them about the change, like that we are getting rid of the group, and that I plan to migrate their emails from this group to the newsletter group. And if they want to opt out before I do it, they can just write me back. But also the generated email that we will send to them will have a nice information in the footer how people can unsubscribe from the newsletter. So I think it's a much better change, and yeah, people should not be then very much annoyed by our emails, and it's going to be easy for them to really opt out. Any questions to this part? Because I already talked a bit. Okay, so the other thing is to clean up. So the current AsyncAPI calendar was actually created some time ago, like 2 years or 3 years ago by Fran. So it was still associated with his private account, so we had to clear it out. So with this pull request, we are also introducing a a brand new AsyncAPI calendar created under official AsyncAPI Google Workspace account that that we have as a community. So the so that's the change. So basically we will deprecate the previous calendar. And I think that's the most important that you should know. Let me just go, because I was writing regularly tweets about the changes. So let me just show you. Okay, so you can see how the generated email will look like. So as you can see, like we will make it super clear how people can unsubscribe, so we are not considered nasty spammers.
I have a question.
Yeah, sure. Please.
Does it have the capability? It's a really silly question, wait for it. Does it have the capability of also including an emoji when you send out those emails, or would that, or does MailChimp not support that?
No, it's definitely supported. So if you want to suggest some emojis, do it in this PR. There's the content of the email. It's HTML, so we can put whatever we want there.
Oh, okay, cool. So, yeah, this is really cool, exciting.
So yeah, suggest, but not too many.
Oh, I was gonna try to add a whole bunch of pink hearts to yours. I know you really, oh, and purple hearts, because I know that's like your thing.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely purple is my thing. Let's not go into details much if it comes to purple. So sending a newsletter. So
I have a question on this.
Yeah.
I don't know if interrupting or not. Maybe it's not clear to me, but if we are going to send the email, how people will be like, we don't want to spam users, I understand, but I'm thinking of myself, like, okay, I know there are some events this month, let's say, or this week, but I always forget. So
yeah. So for people that are okay with Google, we still have Google Calendar. So it's like the old calendar. You can still add it to your Google account if you want. There will be also a ICS file exposed, but you need to, we tested it with Jesse, and not sure how it works on with Google Calendar. You don't even need to use ICS file, but for other mail clients, I was checking with Jesse because Jesse has Outlook account, but yeah, it's not real-time updating changes to the calendar, but yeah, it's always a solution. But the long-term plan is also to have a nice asyncapi.com/meetings landing page where all those links will be exposed. But also we're changing a bit the template for the meetings. So I can show you in the repo where I was testing these. So it's gonna be now the template, the issue created for a meeting will always contain all the links that you need. So like the public URL to the calendar, the iCall, ICS file, link to the newsletter if you want to subscribe. So yeah, basically all the reminders will be there.
Yeah, and this is exactly what I was looking for. So okay. This is awesome.
Cool. And all the meetings will be always by default live streamed. So no longer, we don't have to play with uploading the video. It's always going to be live streamed to make it easy for people to attend if they cannot attend with video. And last but not least, what was it? What I wanted to say? Yeah, it's this PR is also introducing something that communities should be interested with. So like basically not everyone can organize a meeting. We need to to have a meeting, AsyncAPI branded meeting, let's say official AsyncAPI meeting that will be on the list of the meetings. Anyone can volunteer. and anyone can ask for the rights to do it. But what I'm trying to say that not everyone can organize it. It means that basically there is a set of access rights that you need to have to organize the meeting. Like it's basically limitation that is upon us because of the tools that we're using. Like you cannot, for example, start Zoom meeting and start streaming from the Zoom meeting if you're not a host or co-host of the meeting. So to be a host or alternative host for the meeting, you need to have a Zoom licensed account. So at the moment, once we merge this, we already had a voting on technical steering committee side. So we have approval to pay for 8 licenses per year. So I would say it's a lot. So we already have room to organize some specific meetings if you want. But also what's interesting with this automation is that maybe I will show you again the examples that I was working on. So we will not only have spec3 meeting, we will not only have community meeting, we'll not only have let's talk about contributing and thinking out loud, but we will also have a possibility to schedule any ad hoc meeting we need. So in the past, for example, Jonas wanted to have some discussions with the community about the many meanings of AsyncAPI files. And this meeting had no, it didn't fit any of the reoccurring meetings that we have. So now it's any host, anyone from the community that has host rights. So someone from among these 8 people that we will pay for, anyone from this list will be able to schedule a ad hoc meeting about any topic. So we will maintain the list of people long term on this asyncapi.com/meetings website. The names will be public. I think you can recall it. I saw it once on the, I think Rust Foundation has a landing page where they list all the different community meetings that are under Rust community umbrella. So it's going to be something similar. So like basically a list of the meetings for current week, next week, and also explanation what specific meeting is all about. So yeah, some changes will happen, but I think it's going to be for good, especially that, yeah, again, there will be not many mistakes. There will be no longer mistakes that we also did, that we, for example, forget that there was this daytime saving time change, because the meeting will always be scheduled a week before the coming week. So it's always gonna use a proper date. Let's say it this way. So there should be, in theory, no more issues in the future. So that would be all from my side if it comes to the incoming changes. Any further questions to that topic?
I have a question.
Yeah, come on.
So I remember, for example, Missy has been asking whether there's interest in the community to hold regular design community meetings. So since that's a regular thing and that's not ad hoc, that means that we would need to create a new one for her, right? But let's say me, I hate streams and I'm not really like excited about doing regular ones. So I'm more interested in doing an ad hoc meeting, right? Like every once in a while. So for me, if I wanted to do a meeting for documentation, I would use the first template, the ad hoc one, right?
Yeah, if it's not super unregular and it's just for a given reason, then yes. But the design that I think what you're saying, because I saw sometimes that Miss is writing about this design related meeting. Yeah, that's perfect candidate for a regular meeting. But yeah, it's up to Missy. I don't know how the discussion that Missy has there is how much advanced is it. But in this PR, I'm already So the documentation I suggested there, because when I was writing a documentation for this whole change, at the beginning, I was like doing a regular headings and the structured document, but then I kind of switched to FAQ. So yeah, the question that you actually asked, how
Oh,
to
it's the
get,
documentation.
sorry?
Oh, you're like, and the question you asked is in the documentation.
Yeah, of course.
That's exciting. I'll make sure to review it today.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's in, I already addressed like how, if somebody wants to be able to organize meetings, what to do. Because yeah, you need certain access rights. Like not everything could be 100% automated. Like for example, when the live stream finishes, or like, I mean, the meeting finishes and the recording is available in YouTube, a host also needs a proper access rights to YouTube. So the person after the live stream can add the live stream to the playlist, because that was impossible to automate easily. But yeah, all is in. To stop getting any questions, I'll just answer. All the answers are in the in FAQ. But yeah, of course you
This
can.
is like, hey,
ask.
everybody, just read the freaking docs.
And I would say freaking only because it's recorded meeting. If you know what I mean. But yeah, any questions?
If you're gonna answer, it's in the FAQ. Why?
Estaba pensando lo mismo, Sergio.
It was just a joke.
Can I ask another question?
Yeah,
Sorry.
sure.
So let's pretend that I wanted to hold a new regular meeting for docs. In that case, I would need to add a new, I think, YAML file to the workflow. And what was the other thing? A new documentation and what else? Or is that it?
We need you need to add new workflow and new template for the issue. It's in the FAQ, but yeah, they basically technically that's what you have to do. But also first you need to discuss with the community that's what needed, because as I said, like we have just 8 host accounts, so we need to make sure that we use it for the reason that community agrees on.
Yep, okay.
Okay, so I'll finish with thank you to these awesome guys that working on this automation was super like, I mean, much easier for me, because they spent some time before I started working on it to crack the Google Calendar and Zoom APIs. So thank you, folks, a lot. Thank you. Okay, so that's it if it comes to the first topic. I guess no more questions. Let me stop sharing. Or actually not. Maybe I will just jump into the next topic. So mentorship program. How to start, to give context to all the people. So, you know, at AsyncAPI, we try to enable as many people from the world to contribute to open source, and to have a AsyncAPI as a place that encourages anyone to contribute to open source. And therefore, like since 2 years, we're experimenting with different organizations like Simple Hacktoberfest or Google Summer of Code, or recently finished the Code Force participation. So like we experiment with different kind of events to get AsyncAPI connected with contributors. And this year we again applied for Google Summer of Code, but we got rejected. And according to Alejandra's mood, we will probably soon get rejected from Google Season of Dots. So there was this idea posted by Fran, because what we noticed is that, like, okay, we got rejected from Google Summer of Code, but the problem, like, it's not a problem, it's actually a super cool thing, is that before we got rejected, there was a lot of people already from the community coming to AsyncAPI, hoping that we're gonna be accepted for GSOC, and they started already contributing and learning AsyncAPI. So we didn't want to lose this opportunity to connect with and enable these amazing people to contribute further to AsyncAPI. So instead of starting some professional mentorship program from next year, the plan is to do a first version of the AsyncAPI mentorship program this year. It's just a proposal. We still need to ask technical steering committee members to vote and agree, because the idea is basically to have 10 mentee spots and pay as much as Google Summer of Code for the work, which basically means we need to find a 15K USD, pick it up from the AsyncAPI budget. But the most important here is that what I would like you to do, have a look on my last comment under the idea for the mentorship, because we already have almost second week of April. So the my comment is basically about the idea how we can organize this mentorship program this year, and proposal of the timeline, and the rough ideas how we run it. So really simple rules. So I'm not gonna really talk about them here. I don't think you want to listen exactly, or just after I finish talking, you tell me that I should go into details of the timeline proposal. But basically, as simple rules as possible, to make sure that we comply to our governance model and the transparency that we want to have. And then if something is not clear, we will just follow the same rules for mentors that we know from the past from Google Summer of Code. So the idea is that I'm going to wait until the end of this of next week to get your opinion, if you think something more should change in the timeline, because then I want to put it as a nice and easy to digest comment for technical steering committee of AsyncAPI, so they can vote and decide if they agree or not. But yeah, I don't want to propose something that community does not agree with. So any questions? Do you want me to now go into details during this meeting with the explanation of the timeline? But yeah, up to you. Can you hear me?
We are concerned if you're gonna answer. This is in the FAQ. No, kidding.
Wait, somebody's writing in Slack to be let into the meeting. But I think everyone is accepted already. Okay, Anyway, so yeah, if nobody has any questions, then let's stay with this decision that I'm not gonna explain into details of the timeline now. Just have a look. Too long didn't read. The idea is that we should be able, by complying to all the rules and giving people time to share opinion, we should be able to start with the mentorship on 6th of June. I mean, announce what 10 ideas and 10 mentees will work on the ideas. Okay, so let me stop sharing. And now I notice there is a lot of questions in the comments. Did you folks read them and answer already, or should I? Okay, let me go through the comments then. There are many comments. Sad to hear the word rejected. AKSHAT, what do you mean?
That's the comment when you said that we got rejected from the GSOC and probably going to reject
Okay.
it.
Oh, so then I'm really delayed with reading comments. We had some offline jokes about it, but apparently from some different sources, we heard that like basically the plan that Google had this year was to attract like GSOC to some organizations that were not in GSOC yet. We were at GSOC last year, but like not officially, but through Postman. So maybe they counted us like as a organization that did it already. But that's just some opinions I've heard. But then I checked the list of organizations that were accepted, and CNCF was there, and it's there every year. So not sure why we got rejected. Of course, we didn't get any details except of say the generic answer saying we had many applicants and it was a tough decision to decide who to choose. So yeah.
I had a question regarding that. You made a comment right now in that mentorship program discussion. Is my voice lagging?
Yeah, so anyone should leave comments. So basically, because in my comment, in my timeline proposal, I also describe how we basically make decisions on like selections, etc. And for example, in my comment, I explained that like to make it as easy as possible for the first year, my suggestion there is that TSC members they vote on the ideas that will be selected. And but there is a risk that some ideas will have the same amount of answers, votes. So there's a risk that like even though after voting we will not be able to have 10 ideas, but we will have 12 because let's say last 3 ideas had the same amount of votes. So for example, my proposal there is to make it super simple. If all the ideas that are having the same amount of votes are ideas that we already submitted for GSOC, then we just pick the first one that was created the first. But in case, because I suggested there that we should also include in our mentorship program design related or on the docs related issues, then let's say if docs related issue was had the same amount of votes that coding issue, then we should just basically do a random, like a coin, tossing a coin and decide which one goes in, because there's no other, at least I wasn't able to come up with any more fair way to decide which idea should pass. So definitely leave a comment if you think there's some better solution.
I completely agree with your point. Like, actually, my question was the one that I right now pasted in the chat box, the latest comment.
Let me check what I wrote there. So basically when I write as in my in my comment I wrote as I want you folks to have time to comment on my comment. So basically I mean like answer in the thread. So in the discussion, like discussion has comments, but also then you can have a thread discussion to a comment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So just answer as a comment to my comment, not a general comment to the program, but comments to my comment. But anyway, if you do it a general comment, it's completely fine. It's not that I'm gonna just ignore it. I will take
basically we need something like a Twitter threads, what we make it. Just have a reply to reply.
I mean, we can try to do it, right? Like, so we basically answer to my comment and then quote parts that you're answering to. So I think it works kind of like a Twitter thread, kind of. But basically, I hope that we're gonna have so many comments that it's gonna be a problem. But not sure if we really will have so many comments. I'm actually afraid that because I personally was delayed with suggesting how we do it, and not sure if it's because of exams or folks that interacted with us a few weeks ago. They are a bit silent now, if they just lost interest, or it's just exams, and I'm not, and I shouldn't be worried. But yeah, let's see. I hope that people are watching this discussion and will notice my comment. I will actually also add the link to this recording so they can get some more explanation if they need. So any other questions to the mentorship program?
I guess I have one question.
Yep.
How will or when will we know like officially what we're doing or whatever, in the sense for like, I guess I'm still kind of confused about my part in the mentorship program still. Like when I read the comment from Fran, it kind of sounds like he's suggesting it, but it doesn't sound like, oh, it's a thing that we want design and docs mentors. So I'm wondering like if it's still in planning stage, or am I just kind of like missing something?
Can you remind me when do we know that Google season of docs rejected us? That's a spirit, huh?
Yeah, it should be April 14. Sorry, April 14. Yes, 14 at 18 UTC.
April 14. It's in 10 days. Yeah. So so as far as I remember, Fran's initial comment, it was purely about Google Summer of Code, which means it's code only. But in my summary of the proposal, I wrote explicitly that it should be also docs and design. So it should be just more than code, because open source is definitely more than just code. So if Fran does not object to my idea, then my idea is above his idea because I was the second one. So it's like caching, like he's first in, first out. mine is the the other one. And then if something is overriding me, then we do it until the deadline.
Okay.
It's
Cool.
on the serious level of the answer and not serious level of the answer. So yeah, basically, like in my opinion, we should accept everything. And anyway, people have time to vote, to share opinion until the end of next week. So it doesn't mean that, for example, you, Alejandra, have to provide the documentation related idea before the end of next week. Actually, according to the timeline, you have still 2 weeks more to suggest some documentation idea. So basically, if on Monday after next week, we know that we got rejected, we still have time to propose documentation related ideas to AsyncAPI mentorship program.
Okay, perfect. So actually, I'm hoping by tomorrow, I'll have, basically I have finally identified a list of 7 main categories of good first issues for docs that I'm going to add to the board. And my goal is is to is to finish and get all of those ready and posted on the board by tomorrow or so. And so pretty soon it'll be very easy for us to just grab those, as you said, for the doc side of the mentorship program. And not as much as in the code stuff, but we definitely also have had some people express desire in Slack and even email me about wanting to be involved in Google season of docs for AsyncAPI. And, I let everyone know so far that, of course, we're still waiting, but that regardless of whether or not of acceptance, that we are going to be like still wanting to do that work and still mentor and still like work with everyone. And people actually still on the doc side sound excited to still do something, even if we get, accepted or not. So I think that's really awesome because regardless of the program acceptance, still is being a great way to meet more community members.
Yep. So yeah, sounds good. But just remember, don't feel too excited because in the end, they're like, for example, now for Google's Summer of Code, we had 22 ideas from different TSC members. I explicitly will ask TSC to go through the list again and decide if every single idea is worth it to put it on the mentorship program, or maybe some TSC members should decide like, no, I just want to actually stay with 1 or 2 ideas. But yeah, for now it's 22 or 23 ideas. Then if, let's say, we add documentation, it's 25, so, or 26, let's say. And like TSC members can always not vote for documentation ideas. So it can be that document.
I think I didn't explain myself very well. In my mind, I forgot to add something. I now realize
Yep.
clear it up. In my mind, I kind of assumed, I guess, that since those programs are 2 separate programs, we would do the same thing. So I don't need to only see if TSC members grab a docs and vote for it in the Google Summer of Code. I can create my own, but I'm going to do it for Google Season of Docs.
Yeah. But so with my answer, I basically assumed that we will not be accepted for Google Season of Docs. So that's why.
Oh yeah, same here. So like basically, I'm like in my mind, I'm thinking like, oh, whatever. They're probably not going to accept this. But regardless, the people said we want to do something. So I'm like, cool. So just like we're going to do a mentorship program for the people that we're going to do Google's Summer of Code. Well, I wanted to also run a separate mentorship program just for docs, seeing as like I was going to do that anyway, right? If we got approved for the Google Season of Docs. So even if they say no, regardless, I was thinking, well, I'm still going to run a docs mentorship program. Like I already did the work for the application and had that like mental work planned out in mind anyway. So I'm gonna still do a mentorship program. So I guess I wasn't very clear on that, and that makes me think that I'll make sure that after April 14, when we get the official no, yes, whatever from them, I'll update the information in the GitHub discussion thread 303 for I think it's 303. No, I probably got that wrong. Ignore me. Don't quote me. Anyway, there's a discussion thread, the one for Google Season of Docs. And so then I'll update it and say, hey, but regardless of, we're still running a mentorship program. If you want to get involved, let's do this. And so anyway, I was going to actually talk to you more about that in our next one-on-one. So yeah.
Yeah. So I think that, like, even though, let's say, like, because I think that in the mentorship program, one of the attractive parts is, of course, the payment for the work. But I also know many people from the community that they value more what they can learn from the community than the final payment. So there might be that, like, let's say we have 22 coding ideas and just 10 will be picked. And let's say some contributor will be happy to work on idea number 12 and still would like to have mentorship and guidance from the maintainer and technical steering committee member, but we will not be able to offer any financial benefits from it. But if mentor and mentee, they still want to run the idea and do the mentorship, it's completely fine. If both parties agrees, then let's do it. We will for sure find some at least spare money to do at least nice swag pack and send to the mentee once the program is finished. So yeah, I think that there's definitely this option available, if you know what I mean. So it's at the end, it's the most important in every mentorship is the engagement of the mentor and the mentee. And what is the final goal they have?
World domination. Whoa!
So
oh wait, this was recorded, huh? Sorry.
No, I'm going to remove it from recordings. No worries. No worries. So just 8 minutes left. Like the last topic on the agenda is the conference, but I would definitely prefer if you find some different topic for last 8 minutes. No? Oh, okay. There's a comment from Sergio. Purple tentacle. Where is it?
Oh no, it wasn't supposed to be read by you. No, because Alejandra said world domination, wahaha, and it reminded me a very old video game. That is the Day of the Tentacle. That says something like this. Like, stupid.
How old is this game?
It depends. It depends if I say it or.
Yeah, let's show your ID.
Not that old.
Of course. My parents are old. I'm not old.
93.
93. I mean, yeah, for sure it's not your age. Like, I mean, you were not born in 93. It's probably the game, right?
The game. I'm not.
Yeah.
From the 93.
Yeah, probably.
But very close.
Yeah. I bet. 10 minus 10?
Come on. No. Just 4.
7 minutes left. Any other topics before we so I don't have to talk about conference? Oh, okay. So conference. Yeah. So the last time I talked about conference was about a possibility to do it with Linux Foundation Open Source Summit in Dublin in September. Face your conference fears. Yeah, exactly. Some of all fears. So the it was, I think, in February. Then I went for holidays, and then the war started. So there was a huge delay. I got update from Linux Foundation, so they changed the program of Open Source Summit. So they basically don't do a summit on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but actually start on Monday. So it's not possible to get their venue to do AsyncAPI conference in the same venue on Sunday and Monday. So as a result, we would just have to do it as a competing event to Open Source Summit, and in completely different venue in Dublin. So in my opinion, that's this disqualifies Ireland, because not sure if you know, like Europe has some locations where it's cheaper and has some locations where it's not that cheap, and Ireland is not the cheapest one. Dublin especially, because Dublin is like a majority of Irish people live in Dublin, and it's pretty expensive because tech is there as well. So we, for the first event with our budget, we definitely, if we don't take advantage of Open Source Summit, we should consider something different, some different location. I was thinking about Poland, because in the city close to mine and Maciej location, and there's a beautiful city that Polish people don't feel excited about, but people from abroad, they do. It's Krakow. And I know very nice venue there. But the problem is that we were planning this conference after holidays. So it's very much in the future, and basically, like, not sure how others, but like me, especially being here in Poland, close to the war, I'm definitely not able to think that much into the future and plan events in Poland. And also, like in Polish news, we hear that actually there's a lot of issues in the all these cities that are like the most popular. They have now how do you say it in English? Damn it, Maciej. Tourism. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Maciej. So tourism issues, like basically even in Krakow, they say that they have higher crisis in tourism than they had during the pandemic. Almost nobody is coming to Krakow because people are apparently afraid of the war that is in Ukraine, that they're just afraid even to come to Poland. So if we would push for event in Poland, there would be a risk that many people will just choose not to come because of the same reason. So I'm personally running out of ideas and would love to have some like help. If somebody can jump in, I'm gonna start in a discussion on community repo to have it like so that we don't have to have a call, but like have a simple discussion on AsyncAPI, like ideas where we can organize this event. Last time we talked, I think we agreed that it doesn't have to be big. Like this first time, it's more to make sure that that at least the closest community have a place to meet, and we can have a nice community contributor summit and some AsyncAPI talks. But I definitely like even more than usual send a huge request to the community. Please help out and share, like put some ideas on the table and engage people as much as possible to come up with some ideas. Or maybe another year we're gonna have to just do it online, but I hope that actually this year we're gonna meet in person. But so yeah, that's it from my side about the conference. And luckily we don't have more time to talk about it. But yeah, if you have some questions, shoot me now. But of course, I can answer them. Okay, cool. So I'm gonna put a discussion link once I have it in the thread on the general channel where I reminded about this meeting. It's gonna be also in the meeting notes. And like huge, like for example, Jesse is on the call, like so huge request to you, Jesse, and then other people from other companies watching it. Like if you have someone like community managers or event managers or anyone from marketing, like Jesse, maybe you have someone in Solus that would like to engage more in event organization and therefore push ideas further to, for example, I don't know, like I can imagine that some community manager or a marketing person from Solus would have a nice ideas about how to have a special sessions or how to organize booths, or like, so how actually different companies that invest in AsyncAPI community could benefit from the event. Because like, for example, me with my experience and some other folks, we can for sure have good ideas on like how to organize basic event, but all these booths, you know, like things that sponsors benefit from, I would say it has to come from the sponsors. So like you folks know better what to do. Like maybe you should do some trainings or tutorial sessions, special, whatever, at the conference.
Yeah, ping me offline. Let's think through it.
Okay, I will. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, it's 1 hour past. Final call. Any final questions?
You faced your conference fears. Congratulations.
Yeah, it wasn't easy, but yeah. First thing now, I'm just gonna take my dog for a walk, and then I'm gonna drink a beer.
6 p.m. Go for it, man. 7 now, right?
7, yeah, 7.
Nice. Rocket.
Yeah. So thank you a lot. It was good to see you folks. And see ya in 2 weeks or offline somewhere on GitHub. Cheers. Bye.